Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So in this video, I just got a few things I want to go over with you guys. I want to show you an update on how the house heating is going. I want to talk about a failure real quick that I noticed. And I want to ask you guys a question and what you think about the upcoming month of December and what a lot of YouTubers called vlogmas. All right, so first thing first, update on the radiant heat and everything. It has been over 24 hours. The dryer has not been on, and that little thermostat I have is pretty much as far away from the basement opening as you can get. Besides, maybe I guess I could throw it in the master bedroom and it would actually be walled off. But that's as far away as you can get. The basement is still set to 60 degrees. And right now it looks like it is 56.6. So we are less than 3 degrees off, or a little bit over, from what the basement is. So that is freaking awesome. I can totally deal with a 3-degree difference. And a lot of people have said it actually might even get warmer because once the ICF walls basically kind of heat up, meaning some of the heat in here will transfer through this just 2 5/8 inch of foam, and will actually start to heat up the concrete on the other side. Especially if I don't spray foam this, you're gonna have heat go right through there and hit the concrete back there. And if the concrete starts to heat up, it'll actually start to hold that heat a little bit better. And it may actually get warmer up here. But the good thing is we are gonna install Mr. Cool DIY mini splits. The first one is gonna go pretty much right up there above the door. So if I do want it the exact same temperature up here as down in the basement, I think it'll be totally easy and really not that much money in electricity or anything when that thing kicks on to only have to rise the temperature up here 3.3 degrees. That should be completely easy and only take a couple minutes for that thing to kick on and do that. So we will one day be able to get the temperature up here to match the basement once we get 2 head units up in here, one in the bedroom and one for this main area here. And then we'll also be doing a head unit eventually in the garage, and we'll also be doing one down in the basement. So the basement one is more for just the AC. It's not really probably going to turn on ever in the wintertime because the radiant floor is down there. But up here, it's kind of subsidizing the radiant heat and will definitely help just to raise that temperature up just that small little bit. So basically it has worked 100% better than I could have expected. I will take 3.3 degrees all day long. And in fact, I am gonna turn on the radiant heat and actually get it above 60 here, because as for the failure that I was just talking about, we've got some stuff going on that I need the radiant heat turned on so I can show you and figure out what's going on. But to sum it up real quick, this is what I used on the entire subfloor on the first floor here. I used liquid nails, subfloor, deck and construction adhesive. It says it works from 22 up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's interior and exterior. And yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I used. The problem is the stuff has failed everywhere. Even though it says interior and exterior, and even though we were only exposed maybe for, I don't remember, maybe 4 or 5 months, this subfloor has taken a punishment. This was supposed to be a exposure 1 rated OSB subfloor. It did not last the exposure 1, which means it was supposed to last 1 year, no sanding guaranteed. It shouldn't have really like swelled or anything like that. Well, that was just a complete lie and failure. This was an absolute cheap Home Depot subfloor as opposed to like LP or Huber. You can see it totally swelled up along the edges. Some of the top has really flaked off and just come apart because there's not a lot of glue on the top surface. We've noticed we are gonna have to sand some of the seams where they've kind of like buckled up a little bit. And the worst thing, not only did we not get our money's worth out of this stuff, but that construction adhesive, I think, has let go on a lot of the floor joists, and I'm noticing a lot of squeaking, and it just doesn't sound good when I'm walking in certain spots. Now, part of that is kind of my fault because this entire floor is nailed down with an exterior ring shank, 2 5/8 or 2 3/8, basically the same stuff we're putting on with the siding. So it is a great nail, especially because it's ring shanked, but I think we should have ended up using screws. So I've had to go on several spots so far, especially like right here on the landing. This landing was popping and making a lot of noise. So I've come by with some like 2.5 inch construction screws and just started screwing the crap out of it. So I don't know why the construction adhesive let go and the floor is now like kind of popping and riding, but I can't re-glue it at this point. So the only thing that I can do is just have Aaron and I walk around here very quietly, especially where you've got all of like the seams and corners and stuff, and just start kind of like jumping up and down. And if you hear a pop or a creak before we even think about doing any subfloor, just start screwing the crap out of it in every spot that we can find so that we can really lock it down better. Because again, that failed, and the ring shank nails probably weren't the best idea. Now, as for a second failure with that construction adhesive, in the basement, if you guys remember, all of my walls were put in with no nails or anything going down into the concrete. I literally just put the boards on the ground, just like that. I glued it down with that construction adhesive. I put some dumbbell weights on it, and I let it sit there for a couple days. And this board has not failed yet. If I go ahead and I kick it, it is still locked down pretty hard. But I've noticed that some of the other spots, especially over here in the closet right here on this floor, that has completely let go. So even though I'm kind of cutting my 2x4s a little long here, so once they get pinched up at the top and they pinch down at the bottom, they're kind of pushing down on the bottom plate and kind of holding it there. Well, that's still not going to be good over time, because if that bottom plate ever moves, especially in a doorway, I'm going to end up cracking the drywall, cracking my tape and mud, and it's just not going to work out. So we do have to probably nail the floor down. So I've got that 22 cartridge nail gun that can go through lumber and into concrete. We're just going to have to go buy the appropriate length nail that maybe we only need about, say, a 2-inch nail. I only needed to go down through the 1.5 inches of lumber, and just to go into that concrete, maybe a 1/2 inch, because just even that 1/2 inch, that'll allow that wall to not kick out because that nail will be embedded down in concrete. So, but before I just go nailing, and even though we're only going down a 1/2 inch, I do not want to be unlucky and have one of those possible radiant tubes. Maybe it raised up a little bit and it's right there on the surface. I do not want to hit a nail through it. So we need to turn on the radiant heat. We need to like jack it up to like 65 so it runs for an hour or two. We'll get my thermal camera and we'll start looking like in anywhere in between 2 studs. If I see a radiant floor tube, I'll try to avoid it, but we'll go down in between like every one of them with a Sharpie. And if I can see a radiant tube, like maybe the tube is right over the stud, then I'll go ahead with a Sharpie and just mark a spot, and that is where I will put my nail, because I'll 100% avoid the tube. And again, we'll definitely get one long enough to at least embed down in the concrete. So I will be back here in a minute. We will get started on that. The FLIR is just charging back up to 100%, so we can go around everywhere in there and see that. Off camera another day, we'll just go ahead and put those screws down up in here, but just know that use screws on your floor. Don't use a nail, because it's a possibility that it's just going to pop up and let go one day for some reason. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys was about Vlogmas. It is November 15th, 5 a.m. right now. I could not sleep. I just got so many things going through my head. But I wanted to ask you guys what do you guys think about if Aaron and I did a Vlogmas this year? If you're not familiar what that is, it's basically a way for YouTubers to kind of promote themselves a little bit more, get more exposure, get themselves out there. So for the entire month of December, they post a video every single day. Now, are we gonna be able to do that? Probably not, because there will be a day where literally nothing is going on. I'm sitting on the couch and doing nothing, but I just wanted to ask you guys' opinion. What do you think about us trying to do a video every day? It probably won't always involve the house. It may just be something that Aaron and I are going out and doing. Obviously, we've got Christmas and we've got other things that we can do and just show a little bit, a different side of us, if you will. But again, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on what you thought about, if you guys wanted to see more of Aaron and I. And again, it doesn't always have to be about the house. It could just be run-of-the-mill everyday things. But I was just curious about maybe doing it this year. And again, trying to get us a little bit more exposure so our YouTube channel can get a little bit bigger and grow and get new subscribers, etc. But for the original fans that I got right now, just tell me what you guys think and if we should do that or not. All right, so just quick update in case you guys are wondering. The radiant floor has been on for a half hour. It has not risen 1 degree in temperature yet, and I cannot see any of the tubes in the floor yet, even though on that back wall, I mean, they're coming out like crazy hot. But it's weird. The slab on the camera says that it's 66 degrees, even though it's only set to 60. So obviously the thermostat being at chest height, saying 60, it's obviously warmer down there in the floor. So that's nice to know too, that this concrete is gonna hold that heat in for a very long time, and that it's 6 degrees hotter in the concrete than it is actually up here at chest level, up in the air, because obviously that heat has to rise. But we're just gonna have to wait more time. We'll probably give it another, man, I think we're gonna have to wait another 2 hours or something, at least to get the temperature up 2 to 3 degrees, and then that concrete actually starts showing the radiant floor tubes. I know it was super easy to see in the garage before, last winter when I tested it out with the camera, but and the garage is actually more concrete than this slab right here. So we should be able to see them. It's just gonna take a much longer time than anticipated. So I will be back. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this the same time that I'm recording. I finally can see the tubes, and what I just noticed, it's been about an hour or so later, it's still only 60 degrees in the basement at chest level at the thermostat, but what I noticed is the radiant floor coming back at 70 degrees. It's going out at about 130, but it's coming back at 70. And if you remember before, the concrete said that it was only 66, so it had to get higher than what the concrete was, which is probably why now, as I'm recording here, you can see the tubes in the floor now. So they're hotter than what the actual concrete is. Now, surprisingly, I don't see them in every single spot. Like, that's the stairs right there. And you can see there's really nothing next to this pillar over here, which that's really weird. But if you look over here, you can kind of see they're over there, and that's another pier right there. So these tubes right here that you can see are going around this pier right here. If you can kind of see that, that's the pole right there, and that's the floor right there. So there's no concrete or radiant tubes around this kind of 4x4 pier here. But if we go over to where we want to be, oh man, see, that is really, really, really close. I want to put a nail right there in that corner, but it looks like there's almost 2 tubes going through there. So that's going to be really hard to put a nail in. It looks like all the way against the wall we would be okay. But as we get down to here, I don't know. We're going to have to let that maybe heat up a little bit more to know that where a tube is or isn't. And then right there on that 2x4, still kind of hard to tell. I can see tubes right there, but I don't know exactly where there's any at where this wall is. That's weird that they're not showing up like that. But I think we might give it a little bit more time to maybe have a few more pop up, or at least them become brighter in color, because I don't know, that worries me a little bit to just start shooting nails in where I can't see. But again, the game plan is just at least to hit where the doors are. So I'll give this another hour. We'll really make sure that there's nothing around any of the door frames. like on the left or right side of each one, and then fingers crossed, we'll give it a shot. But oh man, this is really nerve-wracking. All right, everybody, another hour later. It is not looking too good. I just don't understand. Like, for example, you see these tubes right here, obviously in that corner again of the closet. You can see that tube running down right there. And then I don't see anything for like, that's probably almost 4 feet. There's one barely noticeable right there in the center of the closet, but I can't see anything right where this wall is. Right where, of course, I want to put a freaking nail. I could understand if there was a tube like running under that wall right there, like it may be hidden, but eventually like right there, it would be swooping over, or it'd be swooping around here somewhere. I gotta go back and look at maybe the aerial views of when I actually put the radiant floor tubes on video and kind of calculate that this wall over here that's probably like 10, 12 feet or something, and see if I can see like when the last tube made that turn. Why would there be a 4-foot gap there? I just don't understand. Now, this is a good thing. That 2x4 laying right there on the ground, that this is going to be another wall. That we can go ahead and mark with a Sharpie, no problem, because you can see each and every tube running perpendicular. That's probably the best case scenario, that they run perpendicular and not parallel, because if the tubes are running parallel with the wall, what if there's a tube directly under the wall the entire way? I would never know. Which kind of had me thinking the gym wall over here. See, these are all running parallel to the gym wall, and we can see all them right there, and that's the wall right there. Well, wouldn't you notice? Once again, there's a tube, there's the wall, and I see nothing on the wall. And then when we come over on this side, I don't see any tubes at all. The floor is just all like one color. Like there's barely one, but I have no idea what is next to this wall. And obviously the most important thing right here is, of course, this the door frame right here. I don't see anything right there in that corner, and I don't see anything in that corner. So does that mean there's absolutely nothing on each side of this freaking door frame? Or like, what the hell? I don't know what to do. I guess we could give it another hour and let it try again. Over here on this door frame, okay, those definitely showed up. So here, at least for the utility room, I know we can put a mark right there. So it looks like there's a tube right under the actual corner. And then there's not another one for about a foot over. So if I put a hole right there in the center, we should be safe. And then as for this corner, we could probably put one again in that corner over there. But it looks like there's a tube, probably right about there. But it's not near the door frame, as the door frame's right there. But man, it's those ones right there that scare me, that they're just not lit up enough. So what do I do? What do I do? And just an FYI, it has been another hour and we're finally at 61. When I came down a minute ago, that was still at 60. So we have finally gone up 1 degree in the course of that running for almost 2 hours. So that kind of shows you the importance. Before winter hits, make sure that your thermostat is set to where you actually want to go. So the kind of spring heat can help heat this concrete up faster, because if not, that boiler is going to run for at least a day or two, and you are going to burn through so much propane if you have to start from scratch at like 30 degrees until you get up to the desired temperature. So I just leave my thermostats in the garage and down here in the basement set to heat all year long. And when it was needed, especially out in the garage, the second it gets down to that temperature, it's already firing up and we're not starting at such a low point. All right, so I verified it like 10 times. I can see perpendicular pipes going this way on each side of this wall. And I mean, this wall really isn't moving anyway. I mean, I'm moving it like crazy, and I can't get that to let go. So this wall is probably secure, but it probably still won't hurt to put one in. But this is still so scary. But we got the ram set from Home Depot. I do have the 3-inch nails, so you just kind of set it in until it bottoms out with that orange there. Put in your 22. Close it tight, kind of hold it with 2 hands, and then just right over that line where I put it in, Fingers crossed it goes down through. All right, and there you go. So we know we've got a 3-inch nail. At least we know this corner here really can't move now. If we go ahead and slam this door shut, there's really not much anywhere for it to go. All right, so back over here on this side of the door. It's a good thing we YouTube everything and we can go back and look at everything. But I'll show you guys a screenshot of the computer of what I'm looking at. But if we go ahead and look at the conduit on the wall back here, we've got the main 3-inch line right here. We've got this 1.5-inch line right here. And if we follow this 1.5-inch pipe all the way down, we can see the pink underfoam. There's a nice black line going all the way down where they kind of meet up to each other. And then you can see the radiant floor tube. So there's only one like right about here, and then there's another one on the other side of the black line that I'm talking about. It's actually like a picture, and the other side of that is completely even with that 3-inch conduit coming out of the wall. So as long as we're in between the two pieces of conduit or on the other side, it looks like we should be nowhere near it, because again, that 1.5-inch sleeve is equal to that black line, and it looks like that 1.5-inch sleeve is equal to the wall right here. So if I put a nail all the way over in this corner and kind of face it this way, there's no way that we can hit this pipe that's over here. Then we've got conduit pieces out of the wall. I mean, there's so many telltale signs that we can look at everything and we can verify. We know that even if that foam raised up and that tubing is close, we know that we can do it, and plus the thermal too. There's just so much extra that's giving me confidence now to go ahead and do this. All right, so next one here in the vault door. We know those pipes are kind of right here, so at least way over in that corner, we know it's not moving. And the reason why I want to put a nail over here in this corner is this 2x4 is actually not into any of the ICF strips. This 2x4 ended up going right in the freaking middle of one. So yeah, I could put one here in the floor, or I could drill a hole through here, drill through the ICF, and actually put in a concrete screw that actually goes into the concrete wall, so that way this 2x4 doesn't move. I'll probably do that up higher, but at least down here on the base, verified by the thermal, I think we're pretty much set that we know I didn't put any tubes all the way against here, because that would have been hard to run those tubes that way anyway. So another one, I guess, here, pointed at a little bit of an angle towards the wall, and it should be safe. So we now know this corner now cannot move anywhere. All right, so I think I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here. I got one more that I'm gonna do, but I'm just not feeling comfortable with the 3-inch nails. We got this door set, and I know those didn't hit for sure. This door here entering the gym, I did put a nail on each side, and I cut out the board down there to actually see if the wall even was shaking. This wall wasn't shaking, but that one definitely was. So I had to put one in there. I'm not 100% confident that I did it right. I did put it at an angle, so all 1 inch or so wouldn't go down into the concrete. And it's definitely stiffened up. I don't see any water rising. And the biggest indicator that we can at least tell if we have a leak, if the concrete doesn't basically soak up and get wet, is up there on the pressure release valve. If there's any fluid loss at all, that very top piece of PEX, you'll start to see the water level go down, and it will happen there first before anywhere else. So since it's all the way full, because the water is hot and obviously expanding, it's reaching all the way up to the pressure release valve. So we know we're at least good for right now. This one definitely, I'm gonna have to wait on it, but I'm definitely gonna just go get nails that are only like 2 inch, maybe 2.5 inch instead of the 3. But I'm gonna do one more, and that's this wall isn't moving either, but I'm gonna put one right there because I can verify on the picture that we only have a PEX tube like right about here, and then turns around that corner. And I know there's not one going to be directly next to the concrete pad. All right, everybody, all set. I got enough nails in where I think they need to be on all of the doors. Didn't put any in right here because, again, we got this kind of T-wall here, so this wall can't go this way. I guess maybe it could go that way, but once we get this 2x4 in right here, we'll screw it down. That way this wall will lock this one in so it can't push away. And again, it can't push forward. So don't have to worry about that. Ended up going with 2.5-inch nails, but ended up going with a smaller cartridge, like not as powerful of a one. So the nails are sticking up about 1/4 of an inch. So we're barely 1/2 inch to an inch down into the carpet or down into the concrete, maybe. But I think we're safe. We avoided disaster. And next time, I think we'll pick a better glue to put everything down. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Again, let me know what you think about Vlogmas. I think this wraps it up here. We're safe. We're good to go. The heat is on. Everything is working well. But let me know what you guys think. And we'll be back for another one later. Take care.